Over the years, I've built up a decent collection of amplifiers and speaker cabinets. I'm a sucker for a crank tube amp with those power tubes cooking and those speakers moving a lot of air. Now, some might say, just use a Kemper or a quad Cortex or ToneX. I've got all three of those, and they're great. I've used a Kemper live for the last 6 years and counting. But sometimes there's just something about a crank tube amp that digital can't replicate. It's gotten really close, but to me at least, tubes are still king. In its current state, my rig consists of 11 amps, stuff from Marshall, Boogie, Fender, and some others, as well as 4 412 cabinets. There's a no-name cabinet loaded with Celestion G12 EVH speakers, a Mesa Boogie oversized rectifier cab, and that's loaded with Mesa spec Celestion Vintage 30s, a Bogner 412 also loaded with Celestion Vintage 30s, and a Marshall from 1982 loaded with Celestion G12 65s. Each cabinet's permanently mic'd with a 57, a U5 Revision 421, a VR1 ribbon mic from SE Electronics, and a vintage 67 from JZ Microphones. This miking scheme, while it might seem like overkill, gives me a great array of microphone sounds, and when combined together, it gets me really close to that amp in the room sound that I love so much. Aside from my amps and cabs, of course, the heart of my rig is my KHE amp cab switcher system. The ACS 8x4 allows me to run 8 amplifiers and 4 speaker cabinets, while the ASX8 adds room for an additional 8 amps. KHE's stuff is designed for expandability and to work together, so I can use a bunch of amps and speaker cabinets without ever having to swap a bunch of cables. And it's MIDI capable. I also like having the option to kick in a pedal or two every now and again, but having a bunch of pedals in your signal path can result in the dreaded tone suck, so I've opted to use loop switchers. For my purposes, I've chosen the Hex loop switcher from Voodoo Lab. Running things this way, when a pedal's not selected, it's completely out of my signal path. All this is powered by my Phoenix power supply from Walrus Audio. I mounted the switchers right up under the desk here so that I could keep the cable runs short. Sometimes I like to use more than one pedal at a time, and the downside of running with loop switchers is each pedal you select is adding more cable into your signal path. More cable means higher capacitance, and higher capacitance means, you guessed it, tone suck. So having the switchers mounted right there, I can keep the cable length shorter. The cables here range from 2 to 4 feet. All of it's Megami cable, Most of the connectors are from square plug, with the exception of a few that are Neutrik. So by now you've seen that I'm controlling all of this using my Stream Deck XL. When I initially set all of this up, my amps, pedals, and switchers were all in the same room with my speaker cabinets across the house. And I needed a way to be able to switch amps, pedals, and cabinets without walking clear across the house. Now, MIDI was the obvious choice for this, but just as with high impedance instrument cable, the dependability of MIDI is dependent upon cable length, so I chose to go with wireless MIDI, sometimes called WIDI. Using an inexpensive device called the WIDI Jack from a company called CME, I was able to set up a Bluetooth MIDI connection from my Mac to my rig. The MIDI signal goes via Bluetooth from the Mac to the WIDI Jack. From there, it uses a standard MIDI cable and goes to the hex loop switchers, and then from there to the first of the KHE amp switchers. The KHEs are on MIDI channel 1, the loop switchers are on MIDI channel 4. So signals that are programmed for MIDI channel 1 go to the amp switchers. Signals programmed for MIDI channel 4 go to the loop switchers. Now, to make all this work, in the Stream Deck software, I've downloaded 2 MIDI plugins for the Stream Deck. Why 2? I'll show you in a minute. So let's go to the flanger pedal as a for instance. You'll see here it says MIDI button, MIDI CC toggle. MIDI button is the name of the MIDI plugin I'm using here. MIDI CC toggle is the function. So you can see I have it set to channel 4. For a MIDI control change, that's set to number 81. The rest of the text there, it's all automatically there from the MIDI plugin. You can ignore all that. You just need to be sure that this number is the control change message that you're shooting for. As for which control change or CC number to use for each loop, that's explained in the Hex user manual. And for the neat little graphic, the picture of the pedal, I just made those in an app. Now for the amps. First, I'll select an amp. I'll choose my 5153. Now, down here next to content, it says 2 actions and an arrow. I'll click the arrow here, and up top, you see it says multi-action. That's because I've assigned the multi-action action or function or whatever it is. Now, where it says MIDI button here, that's the same plugin as I used with the pedals. You'll recall I said the KHEs are listening on MIDI channel 1, so for MIDI channel, it's set to 1. That'll be the case for all the amps and cabs to send their signals to the amp switchers. The CC number will determine which amp is selected, and again, CC numbers are provided in the KHE manual. Now, I need to take a little detour here before the next part, so if you'll bear with me, it'll all make sense here in a minute. I use universal audio interfaces. The software used to control these interfaces is called Console, and in Console, you can set your mic gains, mic levels, routing, even add plugins. It's really useful. Now, because of different volumes, tonal differences, etc., each amp is going to need its own input gain settings as well as its own blend of the mics. Thankfully, Console lets us save session files that contain these settings. So when I switch to a particular amp, I can also recall that amp's console settings. That's a lot easier than setting the gain and mic blend each time. Now, to make this even more awesome, I've discovered a cool app called UA MIDI Control. This app reads MIDI commands and it translates them into commands that Console can understand. So you can also control Console using MIDI. I think you can see where I'm going with this. This means when I select an amp on Stream Deck, Console can automatically pull up the right gain levels, mic blends, preamp, and settings if you've assigned them. It's a brilliant app from an independent software developer. It's not free, but it doesn't cost very much, and it's well worth it. Plus, the developer updates it frequently to keep up with UA changes and features, and it works great. I'll leave a link down in the description. Anyhow, back to the Stream Deck app. Now, back up here at the top, you'll also see a new entry, MIDI Program Change. This is the second MIDI plugin I downloaded, simply called MIDI. I'll click on this one. First off, I'll go down towards the bottom where it says MIDI Output. If I click this drop-down list, you'll see all the MIDI-capable devices on my system. There's a bunch of them. The one I want is IAC Driver Stream Deck to UAD. This is installed with the UA to MIDI app. Now, using this driver, this ensures that this button will communicate only with the UA to MIDI app, so you can send separate commands to just Console that the other devices won't see. Anyhow, in here I just set it to channel 1. For program, I chose to do 0 through 10 for the amps. It doesn't matter as there are no set CC assignment numbers for session files. You assign them manually, like this. After I have all my assignments made here, I open UA MIDI Control. In the left pane, scroll all the way to the bottom and choose Extra. The second entry in the middle says Sessions, and on the right is a list of all the session files currently on your system. To assign these to a button couldn't be easier. Here, let me clear one and show you. I'll do my baby Plexi. First, you go up here and you click the button that says Start. Then press the button you want to assign it to on the Stream Deck hardware, and you'll see the information change next to the amp name in the software. Now just click Stop up at the top, and you're done. And that's it. Now everything's set up and things just got easier. And the best part is, if you swap an amp or a pedal, it's as simple as just changing the title of the button or the graphic associated with it. It's really easy to maintain this setup, and it doesn't have to be a Stream Deck. Any device that sends MIDI CC messages is fair game, including tracks in your DAW, which would be great for a reamping session. I am really not proficient with MIDI, so there was a bit of a learning curve for me to get this set up, but now that it's all set up, it has been a really big time saver. Even though I've got everything right here pretty much at arm's length, having it all right there on this little graphical device makes it infinitely more convenient. So what's your best time saving or just all around great studio guitar rig hack? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.